Hello, friends. Welcome back to another episode of I'll Call You Right Back podcast with me, your host. My name is Chad Medved. This is my show. Appreciate you being here with us this week. We had a week off last week. Very important to take some time off for yourself. Mental health is an important thing, and I take it as a high priority in my life. So whenever I take a week off, I take a week off. No big deal. But, this is another special episode. It's going to be a short, abridged episode that is going to be an update about, the podcast, about what's going on in life, about everything, really. We're in November already. November, we might as well be halfway through the month already, damn near. But October's over. We had a wonderful time in October. We had some great events. We had some great Halloween parties. We had some fun. We went to a lot of haunted houses. And, it's my favorite time of the year, October. November, second favorite time of the year, because I really like the last 3 months of the year. I like snow. I like the whole deal. But that being said, the last couple months of the year are usually the slowest. They're the slowest with listens. They're the slowest with, activity on the pages. But, I'm on here to kind of let you guys know within the last couple years or the last couple months of the year, there's going to be some shit happening behind the scenes on the podcast. So might be a week here and there where there might be an episode that is skipped, but I can assure you, I am working hard behind the scenes. Full disclosure, last night I had Joe Long in the studio. If you guys are listening, you probably know who Joe Long is. Joe Long is a huge TikToker that is, his name's ringing bells. Currently, he has a couple of styles of videos that get passed along the internet, and probably his most well-known right now is the Dawn and Deb videos. I'm sure you guys probably know what that is, but I'll call you right back. Had Joe Long in for his very first podcast interview. Very excited about it. We got a lot of other interviews that have already been recorded that I've been working through, and I'm excited about it. But, I usually don't backlog episodes, but, for my mental health, I think that's what's going to have to start happening throughout the next year. I am going to kind of approach the podcast a little bit differently as far as recording, scheduling, this and that. But ultimately, it's going to do more positive to the show in general. Last couple months of the year, it's going to be a little bit slower. It's going to be sporadic from me, but I got episodes in the chamber that will be dropping throughout the last couple months. Unfortunately, in December, I really like to try to keep it as themed episodes. I like to do a Christmas episode. I like to do something like that. I'm going to have to break away from that this year. If I can make something happen, I will, but we're working behind the scenes. So like I said, we're reevaluating the podcast, and we are making slight changes, and we are elevating. 2025 is the year of elevation. It is the year that we're pushing this thing out, and we are, just kicking down the door. So for the past 7 years, I have been interviewing different people throughout the city in a long form episode. Basically it's a documentary about these people's lives. We talk about how they got to that point and all the things that happened along the way. We've talked to chefs, we've talked to comedians, we've talked to park rangers, we've talked to funeral directors, we talked to everyone. But the main thing is highlighting the people that make the community of Pittsburgh what it is. And over the last 7 years, I've been able to do that with over 300 people. Not over 300, almost 300 people. I think we're on 295 maybe. Who's counting? Still a hell of a lot, right? But the new thing that's happening in 2025, I've had people reach out in the past and ask about advertising. I've had sponsorships in the past. I've had, multiple inquiries about how someone could be a guest on the podcast. But in 2025, we are elevating the show to where I could monetize this thing and really take it seriously. So in 2025, I'll Call You Right Back podcast will be offering ad services. We will be offering sponsorships. We will be offering skip to the front of the line packages, and I will be offering consulting services. 4 different things. All right. Ad services. If you guys got events, if you got a quick event that's coming up at the end of the month, you want to get the name out there a little bit, hit me up. Let's figure it out. We'll get you an ad read in the intro of the episode. And we'll, obviously discuss the content on what's on the ad read, the price, everything like that. But that's going to be an opportunity for people that just have events that are happening that want to get the word out a little bit differently than just your standard, Facebook ad or Instagram ad. And then we're going to do sponsorship, which is going to be a different level of, involvement with the podcast. If you want to do a quick ad, I'm going to just mention you in the intro. We're going to talk about your thing. We're going to highlight it that way. But if you want to sponsor the podcast and you want to sponsor an episode and you want to see your logo on the cover art, you want to see a little write up at the bottom of the episode mentioning you and your contribution to the show, we have that available as well. All of these packages will obviously be consultation based, where you and I will sit down, we will talk about what your expectation is with this, what you'd like, and ultimately how I could add value to your business through my show. That being said, sponsorships and ads are one thing, but over the past 7 years, I have had the opportunity to curate this show on a selfish level. So basically, the way I find guests is I just find people that interest me in a way that, basically just, sticks in my mind. If I see your Instagram, if I see your, Facebook, if I see someone post about you, if I see you in the wild and you do something that sticks in my mind, more often than not, I will reach out and I will invite you into the studio to sit down and talk to me about what you do. Now, that being said, doing this over the last 7 years has, I've had success with this. So I've had multiple people reach out to try to be guests on the show. And ultimately, I can't talk to everyone that reaches out to be a guest on the show. And I would love to talk to everyone, but, I just have, I have made promises and I prioritize different people that do things that might resonate with me a little bit more. If you're familiar with the show, we basically just deep dive into these people's lives, but I don't really have a notebook. I just genuinely am curious about these people to the point where I could spontaneously come up with a good conversation that usually lasts around an hour and a half, highlighting their lives, and that really comes from my interest on that guest and ultimately my interest on what they do. But there's people that want to become guests on the podcast, and I get multiple inquiries, and I want to create a solution to this, and it's a solution to also elevating this podcast in a different level to be able to take this more seriously. This whole show I've been doing for 7 years. No money. For a couple months there, I was getting a little bit of crumbs from someone, but no money. This is me pouring my heart and soul into this, and I am looking to really elevate the show in 2025, and that is going to be by monetization. Okay, obviously, I pour so much time into this show. I want to be able to, take it more seriously. I have a full-time job that I work 40 some hours a week at, and, this is all after school type shit. This is me coming home and pouring my free time into this. So for me to be able to elevate this even more than it is, I'm trying to monetize this. And ways that I could do this is, that's a little bit more interesting is I'm going to offer a skip the line package. So if you're a business in the city, if you're someone that's new, if you're someone that has been around, if you're someone that just wants to try to do a different type of marketing, you could reach out to me. You could jump the front of the line, go to the top of the list of guests, and you could ultimately purchase a skip the front of the line package. Now, what that will include is obviously everything an ad would include, everything a sponsorship would include, and more. You guys get the full attention of me for a week episode. You get a video episode that's completely edited down by me. You get a full conversation from me that is just, deep diving into your life, your business, whatever you have to market. And if you're interested in any of these things, you could inquire about them at I'll call you right back at gmail.com. I really, truly am trying to look forward to any business that wants to work with me. Now, that being said, not everyone will align with what I want to do. So, obviously we're going to have to go through, discussion about, what you are. Basically, people are going to, apply to, be a sponsor to the podcast. I'm obviously going to be selective on the partnerships that I choose to embark on. So, if you're interested in it, I'll call you right back at gmail.com. That is an opportunity that is, I'm officially presenting to, the world now. So if you're listening, you're watching this right now, please reach out. If you wanted to work with me ever in the past, if you're ever looking for a unique way to advertise your business or event that you're working on, reach out. I'm reasonable. I want to work with you. I want to work with good local businesses in the city. That's what this whole podcast is built on, is highlighting the people in this community that make it what it is. And that's basically all I got for you this week. I wanted to talk about the new things that I had coming down the pipe. I want to assure you guys that I'm not just taking random weeks off just to dick around, and that I'm really putting in the work behind the scenes. I'm very excited for the episodes that I have recorded. I told you Joey Long's in here because he made a post on his Instagram. So cat's out of the bag on that one. But I got some other great guests. In fact, tomorrow I got 2 oddly shaped guests that are coming into the studio that I'm very excited about. So we got some great episodes coming down the line. If you want to work with me, let's do it. I'm really trying to kick it into next year in 2025. I'd love to be there with you. I appreciate every bit of support from anyone that's just listening, watching, that comes back each and every week and just enjoys hearing my long talks with these people. The numbers just grow every week, and I am, more than thankful, really, from the bottom of my heart. Anyone who has bought merchandise, that's really, that's the best way to help me. If you're interested in, if you don't have a business to advertise or sponsor with, and you're interested in supporting the show, there's a couple ways you could do that too. I have merchandise. If you like to wear a t-shirt, if you like t-shirts, if you collect t-shirts like I do, I got some great merchandise. I'll call you right back.com. You could find everything on there. Another way to support me monetarily is through Patreon. If you're not familiar with Patreon is a monthly service that's basically a subscription that you could sign up for that will take $5 from your bank account and throw them in my little coin pouch as a thank you for putting out content almost every week. And then the last way you could support the show is really just sharing it with a friend. If you have a Yinzer, if you have someone from Pittsburgh who is, they don't even need to be a Yinzer. Obviously, if they're a transplant, tell them about a show that finds cool people in Pittsburgh doing great things and really gets to the bottom of why they do it. And that's really what the show is. That's what I'll Call You Right Back podcast is. I am going to leave you on that note. I just really appreciate it. Thank yous all again. Thank you to everyone who came to the Haunted House events. Thank you to the Berg Bus. Thank you to Castle Blood. Thank you to 100 Acres Manor. Thank you to everyone that was involved with my October, because October was a blast. I had a blast in October this year. We went to a lot of haunted houses. I got no complaints at all. Life is just lifing. It's ripping along, and I'm just trying to enjoy it the best I can. So thank yous again for the last time, and we'll see you next week with a great episode.